Welcome back to Regular Guys Outdoors. I'm Chris. The car is crooked, not the camera. Today we're going to do a review of something that's a little outside of the box from what I normally do. Normally focus on just hunting, but today we're going to review a Mossberg 930 SPX. Now I've had this gun for a good while and just haven't really done much with it. But it is an 18.5 inch cylinder bore fixed choke barrel, 39 inches overall, 7.5 pounds with a 14-inch length of pull. So I've already added a side saddle to it and a chunk of rail that has sling mounting points, top and bottom. And this is a 7+1 gun, so 7 in the mag, 1 in the chamber. It has lovely fiber optic sights up front and a peep in the rear. I'll show you that there. Peep, fiber optic. Peep, fiber optic. The rear is adjustable up and down, left, right, and the front, I gotta claim a little ignorance here, but it appears to be able to adjust up and down as well. So I guess if you max out your height on this, on the rear, you can play with the front a little bit, or play with the front a little bit to get it to your liking within the wings there. See the wings? Now when I bought this gun, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years ago, that's how long it's just been sitting in the safe doing nothing, I didn't pay that much more for it than this Mossberg 930. So at the time, this wasn't that expensive, and I think this was a display model, so I got it at a little bit of a discount anywho. But I've seen one for sale just the other day at a sporting goods store, and it was $870 or so, $880 at a sporting goods store that has decent prices, so they've definitely gone up in price. We're going to test this today at 10 yards to start, because that is the absolute max I can pull off in my house as a home defense gun, and that would be stretching it and not very realistic. Realistically, we're looking at more like 6 to 8 yards would be more realistic, with probably some of the closer stuff being in that 3 to 4 yard range. But we're going to do 10 to see what we can pattern. I've got 4 reduced buckshot loads, and I use reduced buckshot loads because I do not like recoil. I'm secure in my manhood enough to say that I don't like recoil. Plus, from a shooting perspective, it's nice to be able to shoot and get back on target quick because you're not being beat up by the recoil. Plus, if you know you're not going to get beat up by the recoil, you're less apt to flinch, so you make better shots. So I have shot this on another occasion when I was trying to mess with the sights a little bit and function check it, so we'll roll that footage in here. In case I ever get around to evaluating this gun, I ought to videotape them, see if it works. So what I've got in here is actually some BB shot from Browning, the Browning BXD. So far so good. Well, I'm doing a little more with that 930 tactical than I thought I was going to, so we need to bring you up to speed. So I shot 2 rounds of Remington low recoil. It's double-aught buck 8 pellet. The shots were high. I got the ghost ring fiber optic front and the ghost ring rear. Shots were high, so I've been bringing the pattern down. So shot number 3 was at this target, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I adjusted for the sights down a little bit, shot at this, my goofy makeshift target, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's just a little bit high, so I just adjusted a few more clicks, and now look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is at, the target happens to be at 27 yards. I was trying to put it at about 25 with my eyeball, so I was 2 yards off. Ah, my target fell down. Oh well. I almost forgot. We got to do the trigger pull. See what the trigger pull is. So nothing in the gun. Right at 5.5 pounds. Here's our target. We're going to put out at 10 yards. Got an aim point for each of the 4 loads. And those 4 targets correspond to these 4 loads. So top left is going to be Federal Personal Defense. Top right, Remington Managed Recoil. They go about managing their recoil or reducing their recoil differently. Here they drop a little bit of velocity. Here they drop a pellet. The Fiocchi, their velocity is closer to this, so it's going to recoil more like that, as is the Winchester Defender. So Remington is kind of the oddball. They go with 8 pellet at 1200. The rest of these are at about 1150 and 9 pellet for the double-aught buck. Federal, top left. Remington, top right. Fiocchi, bottom left. Winchester Defender, bottom right. I cleaned the barrel out between shot strings. Move the target back to 20 yards with the Federal. Remington. Fiocchi. And the Winchester. Moved back to 30 yards with 3 loads, the Federal, Remington, and Fiocchi. All right, we've moved the target back to 50 yards for the Slugs because I figured that would be a pretty good range to know whether you're kind of reaching your max limit on the shot group size or whether it's worth exploring pushing it out further by y'all, not me. I only got 5 of these bad boys. But that's what we're shooting. The Federal Law Enforcement 2 3/4 inch, 1300 feet per second, 438 grain, true ball tactical, maximum hollow point rifled slug. So we'll see what she does at 50. Also keep in mind that this is really more dialed for the Remington Managed Recoil at about 20 yards than it is Slugs. I have no idea where these things are going, other than approximately where I'm aiming. At this distance, that front fiber optic covers up that 8-inch target. I believe it's an 8-inch target. Covers it up real nice. All right, so I don't know where this camera cut me off at, but dummy me forgot to turn on the record button on the other camera that's supposed to be facing the target. And this ain't too bad for shooting iron sight out of that gun. It's an 8-inch circle, so this is probably around, definitely sub 5-inch. Center to center, it might be 4.5 or so, 4-ish. But that ain't terrible. I'm sure a better shooter could tighten that up a little bit. Maybe even a red dot on the gun. Not too bad. Here's the Federal at 10 yards. It really acted more like a shotgun slug at that range. And that's because of the flight control wad that's in there. The Remington managed recoil, nicely centered, because I kind of zeroed that the first time I shot this gun. Here the Fiocchi, nice little pattern, it's a little bigger. And the Winchester Defender, 10 yards. That hole is from the wad, just like the Federal over there is from the wad, and that dent up there is from the wad on the Fiocchi. For whatever reason, Remington's wad did not dent the cardboard. So then we move back to 20 yards. Again, Federal really tight, and the wad did that damage to the cardboard there. So all 9 pellets are right in there. The Remington, again fairly centered, all 8 pellets right there. The Fiocchi, all 9 pellets, kind of spreading out. We got a clump of 5 and then 4 out there. The Winchester Defender, just like at 10 yards, it's the biggest group by far, but there are 9 pellet holes, as well as the wad right there. Federal, shot high, but all 9 pellets. The Remington opened things up a little bit, quite a bit, but all 8 pellets. The Fiocchi opened up quite a bit. The oil on the cardboard, as I throw this on the ground when I do my oil changes, and so I get some junk there, but I wanted to reuse the cardboard a little more. But we only got 8 pellets on this Fiocchi one, so don't know where number 9 went. So I did shoot the Federal again at 30 yards, and it may have been me that made it go that much higher, but this one was kind of slightly high right. So here's our first shot at 30 yards where it was high. Here's our second shot at 30 yards. Still a little high, but daggone shade and sunspot. But much better. So maybe that was me on the first one a little bit, or maybe that's me on the second one. But potentially, because that one shoots a little high, maybe that would marry up nicely with the Slug. They are both by Federal, so maybe they already know that. You're like, hey, marry up our 2 low recoil loads and they'll be pretty close together. You know, maybe Federal knows what they're doing. Just saying. So one thing I found on this gun that I don't like, and it's kind of more of a flaw, or a manufacturing flaw, is you won't be able to see it, but that front sight post, the entire housing, the entire winged housing, is slightly canted to my right, so like 1 degree past 12 o'clock. It's very slight, very slight, but it is noticeable. This kind of turned more into a low recoil buckshot review than anything, I guess. But my impressions of the gun is I like it. It works just like my other 2 Mossberg 930s that I did reviews on. So the disassembly is the same. It's just this extended magazine tube right here. That's your nut to take the barrel off with. It functions. Here I loaded up the rest of the box of ammo. Loaded it up with 8 rounds, 7 plus 1, and let them rip. Ooh, that barrel's hot now. Now, one thing of note, my camouflage 930 with the 26-inch barrel started having light firing pin strikes. So Phil stopped using that gun when he would come out because it was going click, not firing the shell all the time, and it started getting bad. So when I was taking the gun apart to clean it, because I was going to replace the firing pin and make sure the hammer spring was strong, and I was just making sure it was in good shape. I was going to clean out the bolt where the firing pin is and just make sure everything's clean. I noticed this. So the bolt is actually cracked. So seeing as how that bolt is cracked on the one side, the face of it is slightly off center. So as I was trying to push the firing pin through the bolt, you would feel it catch. So it's not coming out cleanly and hitting the primer like it should. Now, to Mossberg's credit, on Sunday the 6th, and I think that was February the 6th, it was a Sunday, I emailed Mossberg, let them know my problem. Next day they email me back, give me shipping instructions, I get it shipped off, they receive it, they ship it back on Friday the 17th. I was reinstalling that bolt. Since then, that gun has shot 2 rounds of skeet, no light firing pin strikes, no issues, ran like a champ. Obviously, that was the problem with the firing pin strikes. So that's the 930 SPX in a nutshell. Long-term durability, it should hold up. A lot of people use these for 3-gun, and the model that they call the tactical that just has the bead front sight as opposed to the ghost ring and large wing post up here. So it should hold up pretty good, and it mimics the action of my duck gun, so I know how it works. Between the 3 guns, I've got spare parts for each. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button down there, and as always, thanks for watching.